Shawn, the results obviously have been much better than they were those first 4 outings. What's mostly been different for you?
You know, we were kind of battling a little bit of a mechanical issue that honestly we didn't really see from the naked eye, you know, during kind of games and everything. We kind of dove into some analytics stuff and kind of found that, you know, my delivery arm slot was down about 3 inches comparative to spring training and last year, and kind of doing some overlay stuff and everything with some timing issues and all that kind of little things like that, you know, kind of disappointing in myself that I didn't really dive into that and realize that as being, you know, my parts of 5th, 6th season in the big leagues. So yeah, we dove into that. Me and Homie kind of realized it, and I feel like I'm in a much better spot right now.
Rich Dubroff, go ahead.
Shawn, a lot of the younger players have mentioned you mentoring them. How seriously, how much a part of the job for you is mentoring the younger pitchers?
Yeah, I think it's the most important thing about the younger guys is making sure that they're comfortable. You know, like as far as like being a big leaguer day in and day out, what it takes to come to the ballpark and be the same guy, because obviously, you know, this is a game of failure as far as, you know, as pitching, hitting, you know, guys hit 300, you're a Hall of Famer. You know, obviously pitchers don't have the ability to fail 70% of the time and stay in the big leagues. But, you know, I think we do a really good job down in the bullpen, communicating, scouting reports, helping each other. You know, Wells, for instance, asking what it takes to be a big league reliever, for routines, getting off the mound, all that stuff. It's just the communication aspects that we have together amongst each other on and off the field says a lot. I mean, we're a very close group, not just baseball, but just all off season. I mean, off season talking, all off field aspects, everything. I mean, I think we do a really good job together.
Joe Trezza.
Hey, Shawn, I read somewhere that your son's middle name is Cutter, and that has to be one of the best baseball baby names I've ever heard. Can you tell us how that decision came to pass?
Oh, you know, talking to Melanie about that a little bit too. You know, like without the Cutter, I probably wouldn't be in the big leagues, you know, and that's something that as far as whenever my wife and I just started, you know, talking about baby names years ago before we even started planning on having a baby, we were kind of set on the boy name. If it would have been a little girl, we probably would have had a little bit of trouble deciding on a name just because we bounced back and forth before we had the gender reveal and everything. But, you know, Declan Cutter had always been kind of set in stone for us for our little boy. And, I mean, he's awesome. It's amazing being a dad. It's a totally different experience, and definitely takes some adjusting, getting used to in the beginning of the season as well with his sleep schedule. But, yeah, we love the name, and a lot of people love it as well.
Melanie Newman.
Speaking of the Cutter, Shawn, Dylan Tate shared the other day that it was pitches like that and just with different older guys who have some of the same pitches in his own repertoire that allows him to pick off your brains. Can you just kind of explain how that process goes? Is it usually a guy reaching out to someone else and saying, hey, this works well for you, what do I do to get there? Or is it you kind of going to them and saying, I've noticed this certain pitch of yours isn't quite there? If you could just break that down a little.
I mean, obviously, when it comes to Dylan Tate, you know, like you hear him talk, you see, like he's very professional. He's a very, very intelligent human, you know. But I think when it comes to guys like Tate, who are power 94, 98 sinker baller guys, like his delivery, his timing, his hand position, the way he releases the ball, everything is completely different than a guy like Lakins and I. We're a predominantly 4-seam, high spin, top of the zone guy, throw the cutters down at the bottom. You know, explaining that to, you know, Tate, where his arm slot is going to be different, the way his body moves, like his hand position. Even talking about the 4-seam with Tate, we're riding it up to the top because he was talking, he's like, I'm getting 10 to 16 inches of horizontal break on the 4-seam, which is, you know, playing right into the bat path. And we just started talking about some finger pressure things. And then, you know, talking about the finger pressures and taking into account on the cutter and, you know, really letting that middle finger be dominant through the baseball. And just, you know, it takes time. But like I said, Tate has a lot of feel when it comes to the mound. Tate has a lot of feel when it comes to pitching. So him picking up pitches, curveballs, 4-seams, cutters, I mean, he can literally in one day he can have it. So, you know, like talking with someone that's really intelligent like that and really loves the game of baseball, who's always having a feel. Like we were in the hotel in Texas talking about pitching, and he goes into his room and brings out 5 different baseballs with lines all over it and everything. It's like, I mean, he's got it, you know? So like working with him and working with guys at the big league level it's easy into an essence, you know. But then when it comes to between the lines and the lights turn on, it's a little different ball game to kind of take it into account. But yeah, talking pitching down there in the bullpen, scouting reports, different lineups, watching videos on how we get guys out collectively, and just bouncing ideas off each other. I mean, it just gives each of us the opportunity to continually learn as the season goes on.
Dan Connolly, go ahead.
Shawn, we look to you as as a veteran in the bullpen, but the old guy is Cesar Valdez. How have you guys kind of bonded? What's that relationship been like? And what about as far as the language factor as well? I know he speaks, pretty decent English, but how has that relationship kind of come together?
Dead Fish is awesome. I can't say enough about Valdez. I mean, there's a reason why we call him Hefe. Like his presence in the bullpen, you want him to start, he'll start. You want him to go 3 innings, he'll go 3 innings. You want him to close, he'll close. And I think that gives all of us a respect factor along with his age. Like he's been doing this a long time. He's thrown a lot of innings between winter ball, professional baseball, and just the way he goes about his business as a closer and taking any role that he, like we ask him to do as a team, he does it. I mean, the language barrier is not a problem. Like he speaks really good English, and then if not, Ben Carhart down in the bullpen as well. He speaks fluent Spanish as well, so he can be a really good translator for us. Talking in between if something happens. But as far as like communications and all that kind of stuff, there's no issues when it comes to that with Valdez. And I can't say enough about him as a player and as a leader in that bullpen.